is I wouldn't be surprised to see a pocket holiday lane, which is going to be some ridiculous burst potential, especially pre-3K. Like I would be scared of that. So
Gambles, eventually they're just like, there's still Shiv, right? Like,
yeah. I think the only worrying thing right now for OneWin is that their team, if they get behind, it is going to be very hard to get back into the game. I think a lot of those characters that they've chosen really do rely on getting ahead early. So for Virtus Pro, maybe a safe early game and just get that Infernus, that Shiv towards that mid game to start wreaking a little bit of havoc.
I understand.
This is really interesting because, like you say, who's the best at Yamato, Calico, and Pocket? Probably ABL and all three so on the team.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you
really
just... And it's ABL and the Yamato. Okay, so Empty Dreams as the Pocket flex pick. I think that actually makes sense, not like looking back at it. So you've decided full power on the ABL's Yamato, which I mean has been his most pressing already. Quick charge here, pressure onto Listic. And a quick pause also, where the one thing about EU relative to NA, I feel like EU just has way more pauses for whatever reason it may be. I haven't like narrowed down a reason here, Dan, but it does give us some time to look at the early lanes a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And the Kelvin Shiv lane is no surprise. The synergy there is legendary. And this mid lane, Yamato and Paradox versus Vindicta Bebop. So this is actually kind of interesting. You got two initiators, two damage dealers. Obviously, the issue with Vindicta is quite squishy and doesn't have good mobility. And Yamato is pretty damn mobile and pretty versatile and has that really awesome burst damage. With Vindicta, you really need to land those stakes to set up those kills, and that's not too hard. If the B-Ball gets a hook, you've got a free stake that should convert into a kill. So a lot of danger for this mid lane for both sides. And that's something that's really interesting because we've talked about how key it is for OneWin to actually take down the mid tower as soon as they possibly can.
I mean, it's been a hallmark of OneWin strategy so far all day today is that they prioritize getting middle down early, no matter what. I don't know if it's going to be as easy versus lane. I mean, so much is dependent on whether DMOV lands early hooks, but the early pressure on McHale actually kind of unreal. It's kind of a countdown timer here, I feel like, in middle. It's if DMOV lands hook, it goes the way of VP. If DMOV doesn't land a hook by X point, OneWin is just going to crush the lane via poke. Very back and forth, but you know the Yamato bombing continues directly on the McHale. Dan, are you still with me?
I'm back, yeah. I messaged you, but it's all good.
I didn't even see that. I was full screen on where we're
immersed. You're immersed. I do. By the way, this Yamato stuff is pretty interesting because you have to like look up. It's not actually visible otherwise. So I totally respect this tech. But harass, it's very irritating, and especially with the souls change. Like I think you made this point before. Now you don't have to worry as much about like trying to last hit. You can focus more on denies and focus more on hero pressure. So that's kind of what we see. Oh, it's just the headshots there from the bombardment from the
This
skies.
is ridiculous, and I'm just so glad we actually have it on the observer camera. Just the Yamato aerial bombardment. I mean, anyone that's played ranked recently, of course, has like run into this too in mid lane, but it's still just. It's like a gift to Yamato going, we've taken away your soul lane, but how would you like to be the great bomber of the middle lane?
It's pretty nasty because that consistent pressure, it's like hard to like recover the life that quickly at this time, and the damage output is pretty consistent. Going in for it there, a quick power slash coming on through, and there's a conversion from ABL. This is why ABL is on the Yamato.
Oh, also, wait. Goes for it, gets it!
How does it look so easy from ABL's perspective?
And here's the scary part here for VP is that when Bebop has done well in recent games, regardless of region, it's when you use Bebop as an early game terror that sets things up. Your Bebop isn't looking particularly scary at 1.1k versus the now ultimate loaded ABL on the other side. Looking poor.
Yeah, ultimately loaded is definitely a good way to describe ABL maybe at any time. So yeah, this mid lane absolutely pivotal, and this Kelvin is pretty low. I'm a little bit worried. Need some quick triage there, but there's a healing right. Oh my god, ABL just kind of has this appearance of like this god, just like just in this lane, and the
Zergy comes in. Zergy goes out. You might be able to explain that. No, actually, ABL just stands in the too long while trying to finish off the Guardian. What? That looked like it was completely ended a different way.
It's kind of as though ABL, like maybe he's engineered this new strat where he just turns off his health bars. He like covers it up with some duct tape on the screen, so he's never aware of his health. So like he can just be minimally affected, but like always just look confident no matter what.
If I don't know I'm about to die, I cannot die. I will manifest my own reality into this situation until I burn to death in the Infernus puddle. But I mean, the lane swap makes sense. I mean, dragging the Infernus over there, you needed someone with souls there because of just how far ahead the initial middle lane setup had gotten. Like you actually had to do, a little bit of recovery there. But Lasso immediately dragging Listic to his death. Seismic Slam in the middle of the Kelvin Dome, drops on down towards the end. His regen is gone, and Obikim is out of there. So, I mean, OneWin looking fearsome across the map right now, Dan.
And right now, Michaelis, because he's getting so starved out on that mid lane, it's a swap into the left lane, and that's not a good sign. If that's a admittance that he needs to get farmed and he needs to find a recovery, and so they're swapping the lanes, and so that's definitely an early win for OneWin. Will this left lane be any better? We'll have to see. Charge out to safety from Zenon, and OneWin still looking in pretty good shape across the map right now.
Dan, production just like to be a highlight for the community, saying, quote, the A in ABL actually stands for alt fire. We've discovered the mystery after watching what went on in mid lane. It all makes sense.
Amazing. Well, another pick getting traded out. ABL is going to go down, but it looks like Zergy goes down as well. So it's a trade out in that mid position. The mid tower is pretty low on Virtus Pro's side of things, but we're not seeing that early tower go down, which has been pretty consistent in OneWin's approach. And it is something that they kind of need to get their strategy working. They need to get that mid tower down.
Also, Dan, in terms of the after effects of what happened in middle, Dimov is mostly recovered. Michaelis is not. This is the brokest Vindicta we have seen at this point in the game. As Listic just getting crunched over on the right. But the path back into the game for Michaelis is going to be difficult. And, look, we're still early, but remember, this is Virtus Pro facing elimination. OneWin a map away from taking away the money match and being our new champion. So pressure is already very much on.
And it's the Calico gang coming straight on through to this tier 1 camp as well. Looks like it will be an escape here for the Calico. No kill found, but definitely, again, continuing to harass Michaelis. Look at Michaelis, 3.6k souls. Really just on the receiving end of like constant harassment here. They're not allowing Michaelis to do anything. And look at the gang coming in, the playmaking from NT Dreams off of the cloak. And that's a beautiful finish there onto Michaelis. And 3.7k souls just staring at the ceiling at the moment. Nothing you can do.
You think they're secretly a part of Shriek, just thinking, being like, well, I'm glad it's not me this game. Michaelis is just getting ruthlessly pounded regardless of which lane Mikhail might head into right now, which is also problematic because, I mean, Vindicta's key power spike in the game is this, 8 to 16 minute window where you start getting ahead off key assassinates, you finish fights, but it's rough to be this far behind thus far.
It really is, and it puts a lot of pressure on Zergy to be able to make up for that as the other sort of like main damage dealer on the team. But Infernus's damage, or like type of damage dealing, isn't super insane at this point in the game either. Doesn't have that big burst damage per se. With that said, still some good damage with the DOT as well, and there's a flame dash coming on through as well. ABL trying to find a finish onto the Bebop's going to get it with the ult fire, of course. More ult fires just being dropped around the place as ABL looks untouched so far in this fight. Zergy coming back in with some quick damage, but cannot stop the tower from going down.
Meanwhile, over here, Abram's point of view, OneWin Seismic Slam. Off on the right-hand side, Listic, perhaps a little bit more of a retreat. Kelvin laying damage down in turn. You're Kelvin, how long do you want to stay? Or Frozen Shelter forced out, gets the parry, but Obikim right now, in his own Thunderdome, cannot stay alive. Decent parries aside. And OneWin right now is trying to build a decent lead, and Michaelis is just fodder for this pocket.
Oh, man. This is so rough for Michaelis. 4.8k souls, the average across the... Like, basically, like, almost kind of, I guess, like 1 to 2k below everybody else on average. Not a good place to be. And you got to hand it to Empty Dreams, finding some really key moments, just come in with the cloak.
So you look at paths back into the game right now for VP. The upside, I mean, they're still running a Bebop, but you're still in the window where Bebop hooks are quite scary. But you're also now dealing with what could be the doom timer is ABL getting farmed. Because one win, if they play this as they've played in the past, you're going to see ABL stay around in middle and just be opportunistic on grabbing the jungle for basically the next 15 minutes. Virtus Pro, it's on them to do something to interrupt this. And for now, a little bit of pressure on to Zenya, but it's Calico. Calico's already gone. He's a cat halfway across the map.
And what's crazy too is Empty Dreams has been very active in the ganks and is actually the one that's ahead on this in Souls. ABL just caught up to Empty Dreams as well. So very scary scenario with regards to that. They've got some control over the casting buff there on the bridge buff. And there's of course spawning along with the mid boss as well. And so the map really opens up at this point in terms of the stuff that you can collect, the jungle, the urn and so on. The Sinner's Sacrifices, and the urn will be picked up there. It's going to be run across by one win. Is there going to be any stoppage or pursuit here from VP? Any response?
There has to be a response. I mean, you have Bebop on the side of the urn turn in, so at a bare minimum, you're looking for a hook onto the urn. They're also just trying to get rid of the Guardian here on the urn side before the fight breaks up. Concussive Combustion in right now from Zergy, but Pocket proving invasive, goes for the parry. Back more in the damage on the tower, though. Paradox over, just catches Zergy from the side, and the urn gets turned in on top of it. One win is just continuing to add to their lead right now, Dan.
Yeah, definitely a more decisive lead so far. 8k souls ahead on the team. And here is the fight on the right side lane continuing here. VP have arrived with more players a little bit late, but they are maybe in a position to maybe get a killing blow off there to finish that one off. It's looking quite nice, actually, in terms of VP at least getting some kills.
Abrams just came on in. How devastating would it be just to twist the knife on the Listic. It was Abrams who got the catch, but Listic able to find his way out of a difficult situation there.
And the timing there couldn't have been more perfect, ZP, because Empty Dreams TP'd in just as they were retreating. So if they stayed a couple seconds longer, Empty Dreams would have killed them both.
Meanwhile, a little bit of vault invading being discovered here. Is Listic not too happy about the situation, but also see Zenya deciding, nope, we will protect what is ours and force Listic back.
What if they'll end up changing the Sinner's Sacrifice? Because the triple golden statue buff is pretty... that adds up real fast.
I don't know. I think the thing about the current Sinner's Sacrifice is that it forces fights around the map. I think a criticism of Deadlock before the map change was that you'd run the periods of time where you would get less skirmishes, and the current jungle having more value, having vaults have more value, and just more jungle in general, causes more fights beyond like urn and mid-boss. So I think it's done the objective that the devs may have been aiming for there. At least
I can get on board with that. Yeah, I totally get on board with that. I think that's actually a really good point. And speaking of which, we've got a potential fight brewing again for one win, looking to put pressure onto this left side Walker. And they are going to be finding a fight here. They've managed to corner a couple players. This is going to be hard to get out of there, even though you're a mole on the ground. They can root you out. And there it is, the fight in the shelter, though. This might make the difference here in this fight, isolating the Holiday. Somehow Holiday's taken 0 damage. And in fact, one win are looking incredible.
And just pulls the mole out of the ground, like plucking a turnip, is what just happened there. So Sharik isolated, and again, different side of the map right now. A little bit of Bebop versus Yamato action. ABL, though, looking very, very beastly. 14k, chasing it down with the aid of Calico. Zenya all over it. And I mean, Dan, this is actually quite grim for VP right now, because you look at their composition. Michaelis has never been broker in his life on Vindicta. Oh, the swap over here coming in. Michaelis, a little bit of pressure over the top. Zergy in on the catch. They're going to catch overseas at the very least. Virtus Pro, I mean, trying to be scrappy and catch people in their jungle while they can, but this gap is just dangerous right now, Dan.
Yeah, it is certainly quite dangerous. It's crazy because it's Empty Dreams and ABL both on 15k. They're both like 4 or 5k ahead of most players on VP. The big playmaking heroes, the big burst damage, and the big scary Yamato in on front with that cold front, and Sergey's going to go down. And look at the escape here, making it look pretty good, but that's all until the mole comes in with the combo, and that is one of the best ways to shut down a Yamato.
I mean, it's also one of the best ways to feed your starving Vindicta at that point, where you keep someone locked down in combo and be like, here you go, drop the assassinate. Gonna need significantly more of that, though, to get Michaelis back into the game. But I mean, look, Mo and Krill plays are a pretty viable way of getting back in. So I mean, it's not impossible, but they have to continue to do what they just did there, and not just get pickoffs, but get pickoffs on the ABL, because you can't have ABL eventually turn right now what is about like a 3 to 4K gap into a 7 or 10K gap, because you're probably just not going to be killing Yamato at that point should that happen.
Oh my god.
Okay.
The hand, the claw coming from the distance. Let's get what? The flying strike, man. It's pretty ridiculous how that can connect, and that is going to turn into a kill onto Sharik. Mol goes down again, and that's the problem for VP. They're getting, I mean, actually, I was going to say they're getting further behind. In terms of the kills, yeah, they're not having a great time of it, but in fact, in terms of the souls, they are doing a decent job in preventing one from getting too far ahead.
I do ever wonder if Yamato's grapple will obey the laws of physics and not just have a tether going through like time and space to pull the Yamato to her target.
I actually love it, and I hope it never changes.
Well, you had some disjoint changes to Bebop right now. They'll like remove some of Bebop's more impossible looking hooks of, you know, getting pulled through time and space. You know, surely you'd think a hook connecting the other way at some point, you know, might get a few things, because Yamato just straight up went through like 2 floors of subway there, Dan. To be clear.
Oh yeah, I'm all. You're talking to the wrong person. I love that. How broken that is.
No. Your take on that is they just need to add animations for Yamato opening space-time portals.
Exactly. Well, and it's collected for free there from One Win. They did take 4 players to do that, so they're going to TP into this lane where it's currently under assault from One Win already. So a big push is coming onto that right side walker, and there's only 2 players there to potentially deal with it. In fact, they're going to be able to, sorry, I should say defensive. It's not that they're pushing their own walker. I guess you could try, but it's not going to work. But either way, VP will find the fight against those players in the jungle. And in fact,
it's the vault. Just right there, Listic forced out. But I do enjoy the fact that VP, even while a little bit behind, is going out of their way to go, okay, Shiv, you're a little bit tanky. They can go into the vault, try and make something happen, but, oh god, 2400 HP Yamato. Like, D-Mob's just wondering where things went wrong, and like, for that encounter. No shadow transformation required, Dan.
No. It just looks a little bit too easy. 20k on the Yamato, but then you look to the right, it's 21k on the pocket. It's like, oh my goodness. Because they had it at Playmaker, so you would expect that maybe it wouldn't kind of go like this, but it's it is. And this is not a good time in the match here for VP, because these playmaking heroes are really power spiking like crazy. ABL once again going in on Sharik, who's getting absolutely blitzed. Oh my goodness.
We've entered the Yamato phase of the game here. I feel like we've seen this before from ABL in particular, whether it be in the past with teams like Aegis Aurora or now with One Win, where VP, they deviated from their original draft strategy of map 1 of don't let them play the Yamato. They figure, surely won't play, what? Okay. Through the garage, and here we go. Listic, best of luck here, as once again, ABL on the hunt.
Oh, okay. Looks like ABL is gonna actually get stopped here, but what? Okay, all right.
This is the Yamato grapple montage, brought to you by Deadlock Fight Night. EU, presented by Intel.
Clip is, send it to Val.
I don't know, that was just like the most ridiculous like sequence of Yamato grapples. Like, what?
Dude, the flying
I've seen your hero for a split second through the wall. I am now heading to you.
It feels like the closest thing that you can get to like Attack on Titan with like their like grapple things. I don't remember what they're called, but anyway, ABL's just back at it again. ABL just has an aura around him of just complete safety.
Edit arc.
I mean, you're at 23k in Yamato. The next highest on the other team is at 18k in Furnace. You got nearly 2500 HP and it's not even 20 minutes yet. I mean, are you gonna go tell the Yamato they shouldn't feel safe right now?
With that said, and all the things we are saying, VP are not actually that far behind. It's 14k souls, but it's getting to 20 minutes here, so there is definitely opportunities. The question is, like, can Obi Kim find a really nice shelter in a team fight? Like, these are the types of things that would allow VP to find a way to engineer their way back into the game. And as we saw in the past game where they had that key fight that lent itself into a rejuve, it is definitely possible for VP to find a way to turn it around.
Also, Blank brought up a good point here. It's about time to bring in Blank for a little bit of info anyways, because, you know, there's a little bit of a lull, but Blank, you're mentioning Yamato, 24k souls, no jungle required, just kills.
Yeah, it just kills only. I mean, look at Empty Dreams. He's got 25k. As soon as this guy starts appearing on the map, it's going to be hellish. Like, ABL has been making such unbelievable split-second decisions of where to be on the map at the right time. I'm worried for VP, man. I'm very worried for VP.
Well, they do find a quick pick here onto Xenon, down in their own jungle. VP trying to stay alive here, defend their jungle, but guess what? They got to deal with ABL, who's joined the fight. 25k HP, Shadow Transformation still on deck. Holiday, though, chasing down Demov. Demov in danger, can't quite get away. And it's one win with the full cleanup afterwards. That's an Abrams for 3, a trade you take, and the Walker now perhaps in danger as seeing Flammable right now, in danger, able to warp stone away. Gives him the slip there, Dan, just barely.
Yeah, really nice movement on the Holiday. So many movement options, especially once you get the warp stone, the extra stamina. Like, things can get pretty wild. And that's a great retreat, you know, one when, you know, getting the value and not overcommitting. Again, still 12k, only 12k souls ahead. In fact, the gap's been closed a little bit. 13k, 12k, so...
Yeah, I mean, a bright spot here when you look at the allocation is the fact that, I mean, Listic has gone back into it at 20k. I mean, that's kind of in the range relative to the rest of the game, minus the Yamato and Pocket, where, you know, you could have a Shiv and you could start chaining together kill after kill, right? With the right setup. I think the part that's really just, you know, been the shot to the Achilles for VP is the fact that Mikhail S had such a miserable start in lane, right? Versus the Yamato that was just bombing through middle the entire time through. Like, Mikhail S was at 3k, something at, you know, 6 minutes in. And there's been some recovery here, but VP just didn't have the early, the mid-game gas that they usually would have from their Vindicta, which they prioritize quite heavily.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting thing to consider because Michaelis did get targeted a little bit, but before the targeting really happened, Michaelis just got so badly starved in the mid lane, he had to like switch lanes, which I haven't seen happen before in a Michaelis Vindicta game. So the playing style of One Win, it's just been very effective. Their approach is very effective at just not allowing space for Michaelis on a role like this in the early game.
Well, things have slowed down a little bit. I think something in VP's favor here as they try and figure a way back into the game. Earn right now, being handled by One Win. See Demov heading back. Oh, that would have been ridiculous if that hook had hit. However, it does not hit. Instead, One Win just picks up the walker. Seismic Slam here from Xenon, in and over, looking for the finish on to Listic. Listic not able to live for long. Shelter comes out, perhaps too late to save Listic, but in time to kill overseas. We'll see if VP can make something of this here. 5 versus 5. But ABL is joined the fight. ABL is full HP, and ABL still has Shadow Transformation in reserve. I just don't see what VP does in the rest of this fight now, aside from Rock.
Yeah, they're just trying to kite right now. One Win, because you've got Calico, ABL, and Empty Dreams all coming in, all 3 playmakers throwing all the abilities at them, and it's just going to force them all the way back. Almost the entire team gets wiped. That's kind of the danger I think that Blank was referring to. Like, when you get Empty Dreams really in these fights at this point, it's pretty ridiculous. Falling onto the mid boss as well. There's nothing really on the table here to create a steal. There's like no utility available whatsoever. No ults, nothing that could do anything to stop this. It might be a fun hook, though.
I mean, Demov's looking for a hook. I mean, I think they're looking for the emergency play here. The mid boss isn't dead yet, though. They hold off on the damage and they go to just deal with the people they know are kind of lurking in the shadows instead. It's actually great awareness by One Win. Just chill on the mid boss damage. Look to chase down the people outside. Don't even give the opportunity of a miracle pickoff. ABL finds Listic, and you take a look here at Demov, who was looking to be sneaky, and instead, ABL point of view, Terminator point of view, down in middle.
Well, actually, a trade onto Flammable there from Mikhail S, and Shari gets a kill onto Empty Dreams. It seems like this actually might have backfired slightly for One Win, overcommitting into these chases, into these fights, maybe too much confidence, because this is a great response from VP so far. 2 players, Zergy and Shari, very low, and the Flying Strike again is just magic. It's pure magic.
It just does.
Literally.
It just works. It simply works. It's all you have to know. Okay. ABL back over and in. ABL diving on the Demoff for what feels like the 9th time this game, takes him on out. Mid boss still alive, but perhaps not for long. I mean, you still have Obakim hanging out in middle right now. Urn is going to be picked up, and I mean, OneWin still hasn't finished off mid boss yet.
Yeah, they've just been using it as like a huge threat in the baits. Maybe they should call it phasing strike instead of flying strike or something, just like because you just like teleport through solid objects. So
I'm okay with that. If you call it phasing strike and it's just, you know, there's portals involved, it works. It just graphically looks very weird.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Right, okay, well, so maybe this time mid boss will die.
And you can go for a frozen shelter and try and time a steal. It's not great. You're also gonna have ABL preemptively pop shadow transformation. Do they do anything here? No, they let it go. I think once you see the Yamato preemptively use shadow transformation and you don't have overwhelming force, you just have to let go. Like, any interrupt play just was so unlikely to actually work.
Ready to give pursuit.
Might be, well, looks like a fight might have been attempted over the end, but they're actually gonna go for the intercept. And okay, global again, just the confidence. It's crazy.
Yo, Flammable went in for the lasso. Is like, I got him, and just got the 2 fists instead on the backside. Did not see Sharik lurking in the shadows. That was great.
Ooh, and Demoff gets a pick onto ABL. We didn't see it on screen. Not sure how that happened, but that's a huge pick to get. Obviously, there's extra confidence here. We've got the rejuves for OneWin, so they're being extra aggressive. And they are trying to run the Urn into enemy territory, maybe at the same time. The solo Abrams might be trying to do that. I don't know that that's... I have to abort that plan at this point, but OneWin, they got to be careful not to kind of, you know, with the confidence, kind of give up the lead, because the lead is starting to erode slightly.
Also, if there's any team that has historically not been great about protecting leads, it's OneWin. They're probably #1 in letting leads go away. So yeah, they need to play this intelligently, despite the edge they have. Catching Listic, of course, a good start. 6 on 5 here towards Urn turn in. How heavy is this contested here? Concussive Caution in by Zergi, goes in, but it's mistimed. It's not in time to stop the Urn turn in, even with the shelter being used. They're gonna get the kill on the Xenon. See how the rest of the fight here goes. I mean, the problem is ABL is in, has killed Mikhail S, still has Shadow Transformation on deck. I go into every one of these fights out wondering, okay, you've killed 2. How do you deal with ABL now? Overseas gets on the Obikim. ABL still in the fight, still has Shadow Transformation up, still chasing. I mean, 2 down for OneWin, 3 down for VP. When you're behind, it's not the worst trade. And if it was well timed, they could have gotten Urn there too, Dan. It's just the Concussive Combustion was just a little bit late.
Empty Dreams was solo pushing the right side Walker. He picked that one up, and now he's helping them kill the left side Walker. So you got to factor the Walkers into the equation. And as we get the infliction dropped onto VP, the defenders on this Walker, look at the burst damage coming in. That Spirit Power is out of this world at this point. The flying strike as well from ABL gets 2 kills right at the end there, and this Walker is gone, wiped off the surface of the map. And now, I mean, this is all converted, like after all is said and done, into like a 4 kills for 2 onto OneWin, and they get 2 Walkers as well.
We might have a new champion on our hands right now. There's never been a more ripe situation for the mantle to be passed. Virtus Pro, the defending champions, on the edge. Seeking a little bit of refuge into the fountain. But things have never looked more dire for VP. They have been the master of comebacks in the past, but this stand would be the best one of them all if they turn it around.
Yeah, it's not looking all that hot for them at the moment. Again, some of the factors you think about is this Kelvin frozen shoulder in these fights, but ooh, okay, do we get any interruption? There we go. Interrupting my own speech. ABL will die, so that's nice, and no rejuve, so 450-second respawn. Lots of jungle on the map at the moment, no urns. But the flex slots, that's going to be painful, ZP. 3 Walkers still up, and a Guardian for OneWin. So that is, oh, that's painful.
The interesting part about this, though, is that, and we can bring back in blank here for a second, too, is that I do see a few passive victory for VP here. It goes off the idea of getting an early pick onto either the Pocket or the Yamato, because the OneWin allocation is so heavily biased for Yamato and Pocket, which are very difficult to kill, by the way, but if they do go down, the rest of the spread is winnable.
Yeah, it's not impossible. I mean, right now, the pickoffs coming through from the Paradox are pretty hellish to deal with. But Empty Dreams is going the Assassin Pocket build anyway, so he's actually fairly damn squishy outside of the barriers he's got on top of him. So if they can lock him down, then yeah, there's a big potential. But in those fights where he's able to warp stone upwards, get the 4 stack of damage amp, he is brutal. But yeah, you're right. There is definitely a possibility of Virtus Pro being able to outlive these fights. It's just so unfortunate that it's around about a 30k lead, but that has been broached. It was about 50k before.
They're getting ABL again off the combo. That's exactly what they need. They just took 40k off the board. Here comes VP. Off the Amato pick. Can they get more right now? Can you set Listic to just chain killing blows? Zergy under pressure falls. 5 versus 5. And this is where I look towards Listic. Where is Listic in the fight? 1 killing blow on the Xenon, but immediately falls to Zanya. So that winning condition is out. 4 versus 4. ABL's not happy. Doesn't like the Mo. I can't read Russian, but that's what I'm thinking.
I think that's a good guess. And the pressure into the base is continuing at the moment, just knocking on the front door. And I don't know that they can proceed any further at this point. They're going to do as much damage as they can. The question is, will VP give them an opportunity? Well, Empty Dreams are straight in there with the TP off the cloak, and that's going to be the initiation, sending the rest of OneWin straight into the base, following it up. Obi Kim gets taken down, and this could be so much damage into the base here. That first stage patron is dead, and this is a problem. A huge problem for VP. 4 players still down. CP is looking very close here.
It's not looking great. However, there's still options here. Mikhail S in the back, assassinate. A little bit scary here. Oh, okay, Mikhail S dead. Now, some of the options just went away with his overseas. Able to find that. Mo combo in play. Mo, though, immediately getting jumped on. Trick Knight don't do anything. Another 3 down for Virtus Pro. And OneWin. This might be it here and now, Dan. First stage patron is down. OneWin, not shy to finish off the patron. Ones that like to finish off the game could be on the verge of a new champion, as OneWin is not leaving.
Yeah, 3 players up for Virtus Pro to defend this. There is a Kelvin ult. That's going to delay things a little bit longer. 3 players still have to respawn. Can enough time be bought here? The patron already down to 70%. It's going to go down real fast as EP. We might just have a new winner. It's OneWin defeating a VP, subverting their dominance, and instead taking the throne into incredible games. OneWin. I can't believe it. VP, the era is over at DFN.
Unbelievable. The Virtus Pro streak is broken by a OneWin team that just seems to get better and better week